And here are the standings after 4 rounds of play. Four-way tie for first. My buddy Carl Nakamura from the United States, Maxime Vichet-Legrand from France, Anand Giri, and world champion Magnus Carlsen with 2.5. With 2 points, 11 Aronian, Michael Mickey Adams, Fabiano Caruana, Alexander Grishuk. In 9th place, Fishy Anand with 1.5 points. And Veselin Topalov, really surprised at only 1 point. He was actually the leader going through the first 2 tournaments in the 3-leg Grand Chess Tour. But there are the standings after 4 rounds. Hi folks, John Cordisco back again. Round 4 of the 7th annual London Chess Classic, the 2015 edition. The 3rd leg in a 3-leg series of tournaments called the Grand Chess Tour. This is between my buddy from the US, Carl Nakamura's white, and former 6-time world champion from India, Vishy Anand. I consider this the game of the round. I'm going to have one other game on here, but to give you an idea, the other games, Topalov and Fabiano Caruana. Caruana had a huge lead on the position. He let it slip. Topalov just basically took over. It was an incredibly long game. Ended up in a draw. That game's just too long to show. The other game is Magnus Carlsen versus Mickey Adams. Really, Magnus was not winning, but he had a really good position most of the game. Magnus won the exchange, but somehow Mickey kept it together and formed a fortress and drew. Ended up being a rook and knight against a rook and king against knight and king, and that was a draw. That was a long game. So here we go with this game. It's going to be a close Catalan. Let's get through the opening here. Go through the first few moves here. We don't go into opening theory too much here. Interesting though, that C5 move. I play blitz a lot. I CC, play chess. And I see that quite often. It's also the computer's choice. And I'm always confused on how to take. And we're not grandmasters. If you notice, the grandmasters just leave the tension. He just simply castles. Now pawn takes. Knight takes. Queen b6. Rook d1. You're going to see later, this queen gets in a really weird spot and is basically trapped here. You're going to see it later. You can't take it. It just can't move. It's really weird. Knight takes. Pawn takes. Now, according to the computer, knight takes c6 is the last book move. After queen takes, bishop g5, just developing h6. Now, I see the grandmasters do this a lot, where they'll trade bishop for knight. I think all of us, 99% of us, would move the bishop off. I think the key to this case is the pawn here. You can't back it up, of course, you'll lose it. If you put it out here somewhere, it's just going to get chased. So he takes, bishop takes, knight a3. Now, you just remember that knight sitting there. He's going to be sitting there a long time. And the weird part is, well, I can't spoil it for you, but that knight's useless for a long time. Bishop d7, rook a to b1, brings his other rook over, queen up, the other rook comes over. I think Vichy's pretty good here. Got a tiny advantage in the computer for white. And finally, c takes. Now this is a move, it's the third choice on the computer. It's climbing up slowly. E takes d5 is the computer's choice. Queen a4. Interesting move. And look at the bishop here. He's bearing right down. This queen's right here. You're going to see later that those bishops are going to give Carl a hard time. Rook to d2. Basically only move. Computer likes d6, but I'm not so sure. You end up with your pawn on a dark square and you only have a light squared bishop. Rook D2. B5. Wasn't the first choice of the computer. I can see why, of course. Rook comes over. No, that's a move. Carl's not known for taking a long time on a move. And I do have to say, in Carl's defense, Rook B to D1 is the computer's choice. Well, that's why these guys are world-class players and we're not. But he took quite a while. I think it was maybe 15, 20 minutes, and that's a long time for him in a move, especially with a position like this. But he made the right choice. Again, E takes, Bishop takes, Bishop C6. This is the part of the game for me. It starts getting really tricky. Right in the middle of the middle game. There's a lot of pieces on the board and a lot can happen. E4. Well, reinforcing your bishop because it's pinned against the queen, but also, too, get that pawn up there in the center at the same time. A6. H4 for Carl. I think to tell you the truth, he was looking to control a G5 square so that bishop wouldn't harass that rook. Bishop takes, pawn takes. Now there's a new pass pawn for white. White's a pawn up. Let's see if he can hold it. Queen to B4. Rook to B1. Gotta guard that pawn. That poor knight's just stuck there. Queen A5. B4. And this is where I think Vichy makes a mistake. The top three moves on the computer are all basically the same in score. Queen B6, Queen C7. I think B6 might have been a better choice. And Queen A4. And he decides to go Queen A4. Interesting though, if he had gone Queen B6, I think Rook C2 would have been a good move. But after Queen to A4, Rook to B3. Now, you've got your knight and your bishop, or your rook and your knight. Can't even talk today. Your rook and your knight basically trapping the queen for now. She's not lost. She just can't go anywhere. Bishop B7. Rook E2. Now, I was really surprised that Vichy didn't take the pawn on B4. I think he was afraid of, after bishop takes B4, rook to E4, pinning the bishop. That would have been pretty messy. But he did do the computer's first choice, and that's rook to C7. Now, this move, I didn't understand at all, and still kind of don't, but I think Carl wanted to stop any checks on the back rank. Tactical, probably long variations he was looking at. King to G2. And I'll give him that. That was a hell of a move. That's why these guys are great players. Bishop F6. That's a good spot for that bishop. Queen F3. The only thing I don't like about White's position is that knight, but it's help trapping the queen, so it's doing a purpose. So is the rook. And that rook on B3 is on a light square, so the bishop can't chase it off. Rook E7. Rook to D2. Guard the pawn. Double up on the rooks on the pass pawn. Queen E2. G6. To give you an idea, rook takes, rook takes, rook B8, rook D7. That's what the computer showed. Why I can't take the pawn. Of course, we all could tell that anyway. H5. I like that move a lot. Helps open up the king side a little bit. Pawn can't take, so he has to push. And you're going to see later, not having that G pawn there is going to be costly. At least positionally. Queen to D1. Bishop. Knight. Finally gets the knight out. Queen takes. Knight e3. It's about a 1.5 advantage at this point for white. White's pieces are starting to come alive here. Black's queen is totally out of play. Right now, it can't get back in at all. Has to go to a1 where it's traded. And this is where I think, after rook to a2, that Carl is really in the driver's seat here. That knight is doing a very good job of guarding the pawn on d5. Has to move the bishop. But he doesn't take the pawn on a6. Knight f5. Now you notice that g-pawn is missing. And that knight's in a damn good spot. Bishop goes back, hoping, of course, that white will take it, but it's not going to happen. That knight can't be dislodged. Rook takes. Bishop. Interesting, though. If you go to look at this, why didn't you play pawn take, or rook takes pawn? Knight checks. Disaster. Bishop f8. It's over a 2-point advantage now for Carl. And really interesting move here. Really, really good move for that Carl. d6. Bishop takes. Knight takes check. Rook takes is much worse. And after rook takes, knight takes, rook takes. That's not very good, but knight takes, king to h7, knight to g4. And actually, this is where Vishy decided to throw in the towel and resigned. Most of us, I think, would have kept on playing. Technically, he's only down a pawn, but to give you an idea, after bishop d7, rook to f3, and it's going to get mopped up. Going to put the rook behind here, go after this pawn. This pawn's undefended too. It's just a disaster. So there you have it, folks. I think game of the round from round 4 of the London Chess Classic 2015. I hope you enjoyed it. Go Carl. I do have to say, though, out of all, there's 10 players, one wild card, Mickey Adams from England. These guys aren't playing really close, I don't think, to their actual strength. They're very inconsistent, including Carl. I think the only two that are showing at least consistency are Mickey Adams and Levin Aronian. These guys are up and down. I mean, they're ahead in games that you blow and lose. They're ahead in games that they blow and draw. They're behind in games where they end up drawing. It's the inconsistency is everywhere. Maybe they're just tired. I don't know. Maybe it's the end of the year. Wednesday, there'll be one more round, round 5, and then there's a rest day, Wednesday. By weird coincidence, is Carl's birthday as well. So, Carl, or anybody that knows a Carl, you probably won't see this video, I'm sure, but if anybody that knows a Carl, tell them that here on my chess channel, we all say happy birthday to him. And I also want you to remember, if you think chess is just a game, you're not playing it right. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.